Hello everyone, Michael O'Brien here from www.o'brienmagic.com. In today's video we're going to be talking a little bit about how you can motivate your magic. Now what do I mean by motivate? Do I mean that you need to sit down and have a little heart-to-heart? Obviously not. Motivation simply means giving your props or the moves that you do a reason for existing. If you've ever noticed sometimes when you're performing something, if someone stops you and goes, hey, wait a minute, that was a little weird, or why'd you do that? Or maybe you used a prop or a gimmick and they stopped you immediately and asked to examine that certain prop or gimmick. 9 times out of 10, the reason is simply because it felt unnatural to them. It gave up a red flag that made them want to stop your performance for a minute to make sure that you were legit. What we're going to talk about in this video is little things that you can do to kind of jump over those barriers a little bit, try to take down some of those red flags, which will hopefully make your performances a little bit better, and will also prevent your audience from heckling you, so to speak. In this video, we're just going to talk about 3 things to keep it short. There's probably thousands upon thousands of ways that you can motivate moves, props, etc. We're just going to talk a little bit about it so you guys can get a basic understanding of what it is to motivate a move or a prop, and then perhaps in a future video maybe we'll go into a little bit further discussion. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about 3 things. Script writing, so that includes your pattern, the way that the routine is set up, things like that. We're going to talk about props and gimmicks, okay? So different items that you might use, whether it be your cards, coins, money, sponge balls, etc., things like that. And last but not least, we're going to talk about how to motivate your moves to make your sleights and your moves look a little bit less suspicious and more natural. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so first let's go ahead and talk about scripting your routines and using your writing techniques to help motivate your moves and your props and things like that. So first thing off the bat is whenever you're putting a routine together, the things that you do and the things that you use, like the items that you use, have to make sense with what you're saying. So just to use this example, let's just say I wanted to perform an effect where I open up my wallet and I show that the wallet's empty, and then I close the wallet, snap my fingers, the wallet bursts into flames, and when I open it again, there's $100 bills inside. Okay, that would be a pretty cool effect. So things that are relevant to this effect might be the wallet, maybe obviously money, maybe I'm using a pen or something as a magic wand. Those items are relevant to this routine because obviously I'm working with money. Wallets hold money. People carry pens on them, especially if you're a businessman or something. It all kind of goes together. Okay, so having certain props in your act that go together along with what your plot or your story suggests is going to seem less suspicious. Okay, now let's go ahead and use a scenario where let's just say I remove a coin purse from my pocket, set that coin purse down onto the table. Then I magically make a coin appear, make it disappear, reappear a couple times. I say, wasn't that cool? I take that coin, make it disappear forever, and then I say, awesome, thank you, and I grab the purse and I put it in my pocket. People are going to probably be like, whoa, wait a minute, what was with the purse, right? You pull a purse out of your pocket, you set it on the table, you do some coin magic with it, and then you just pick it back up and put it back in your pocket. Now, the coin purse is relevant to the fact that I'm using coin magic, but the coin purse had no motivation in the routine because all it did was sit there on the table. It would be a different story if I were to remove the coin purse from my pocket, pull out a coin, set the coin purse on the table, make the coin vanish a couple times, do a total vanish where I show both hands empty, and then open the purse again to reveal the coin and jump back to the purse. That would make sense. That would give the purse motivation, because the whole object and plot of the routine is that the money keeps disappearing, but don't worry because it always ends up back to the purse again. So that makes the purse part of the story and makes it relevant. So basically what I'm saying is you want to make sure that when you're putting your routine together, everything that you do, everything that you say, and all of the props that you use make sense in a cohesive story that the audience can follow along. It's going to prevent people from stopping you and go, whoa, wait, can I see that? Can I see that purse? You know, can I see that coin? Things like that. So that is just one example of how you can use your scripting and your pattern to help motivate the routine. All right, so now we're going to talk about using props along with your story to help motivate the magic. We talked a little bit before when we talked about using what you say in script writing, for example, using the coin purse. We're going to elaborate a little bit more on that now, okay? One perfect example to illustrate this point is the use of a magic wand, okay? Magic wand can be any object. It could be a pencil, a pen, a Sharpie, a playing card. It could be a straw. It could be an actual magic wand. It really just depends on your style and the type of atmosphere that you're performing in. But for example, let's talk about how a wand could be used to motivate your magic. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make this ball disappear. Okay. All right, not too bad. The ball obviously disappeared, but there's two things that the audience is going to try to backtrack in their mind, right? First thing is, number one, if I really wanted to make this ball disappear, couldn't I just close my hand and then open it again and the ball would be gone, right? Number two, once the ball goes over here and vanishes, the first place that they're going to want to look is the last place that the ball could have been. We call this the rubber band effect. If I put a ball here and open my hand, the first place the eyes are going to go are back to this hand again. Like if you were to pull a rubber band and let it go, the rubber band's going to snap right back here, hence the rubber band effect. Okay. So now how can I make this seem more natural simply by using a magic wand? Okay. Well, it's simple. Okay. So here's my magic wand. I'll go ahead and place it underneath the arm. Okay. I pick up the ball, but where's the wand? The wand is here. It'd be very awkward for me to grab the wand this way, right? So what would be more natural is if I simply put the ball here to grab the wand so I can give it a tap and make it disappear, okay? So that does two things. Number one, that gives an excuse to why I had to put it in the other hand. It was to pick up the wand. Number two, after I make the ball disappear, the hand is in a very natural position concealing the ball. I don't have this issue where my hand is awkward, creating that rubber band effect, because there was a beat, I grabbed the wand, make the ball disappear. Okay, so that's an example of how you can use a magic wand, for example, to motivate a move. Along with that, you want to introduce props that go along with one another. Okay, so let's go back to that money example that I used earlier. If I were to be doing a trick with the wallet, where the wallet bursts into flames and then I produce bills, it would make sense that I use the wallet, money, and then maybe a pen or something for the magic wand. It would not make sense if suddenly in the middle of the routine I introduced a sponge ball or something, because that prop doesn't really go with that particular routine. Now maybe your wallet fire routine could lead into a sponge ball routine, which is fine. But if I were to like open the wallet and there was a sponge ball there, and then I were to put that ball in my pocket and move on with the routine, that would not make any sense. Or for example, let's just say I'm using a chop cup routine where I borrowed a wadded up piece of paper from someone and a coffee cup. And you know, I want to make the ball disappear and I want to use a wand. You're not going to want to use a nice wand like this because I'm using a wadded up piece of paper and an old coffee cup. It would make more sense maybe if I used a pencil or something like that as the magic wand, because it would make more sense in that situation. Another thing that you can think about too is using items that are organic to the environment that you're performing in. So for example, let's just say you're working at a coffee house and you want to perform that chop cup routine. Rather than using a really nice chop cup from a magic shop and one of these really nice little crocheted balls, maybe borrow a sugar packet and a coffee cup and, you know, perform the trick like that. You can even use a straw as a magic wand if you wanted to. So using props that are organic to the environment is really going to increase, or should I say decrease, the amount of red flags that get brought up, because the spectator isn't going to think, oh, it's a magic trick. They're going to think, wow, he's doing something really cool with objects that are just found in the coffee store. So it's going to be a little bit more organic and seem a little bit more natural. Avoid overusing props. If you don't have to use a prop, try not to. If the prop, again, doesn't make sense with what you're going to do, don't use it. You know, last but not least, make sure that what gimmick or prop that you're using makes sense in the routine that it's in. For example, let's just say you have a deck of cards here, right? And inside you have an extra card that's inside the case. Okay, now this is your gaff card, for example. Now what I need to do is I need to get that card out of the box and I need to put it into the deck, okay? So the way that I decide to do that is by taking the deck, putting it in the case, then taking the deck back out of the case. And now I've added that gaff card here, okay? Now that's fine if you don't do it exactly in that way. So for example, the best way to motivate that move would be to, so let's say we have the gaff card inside the case, right? I can have someone choose out a card. I can place that card back into the middle of the deck, take the deck, place it in the case, and I can say now the deck is sleight of hand proof. There's no way that I can manipulate the cards because the cards are inside the case. In fact, I even want you to hold them for me. I'm going to do the magic move just like this outside of the case. And guess what? Now you can see that your card has vanished from the deck, and whatever the next part of the plot decides. Excuse me. But the point is you've added that card onto the deck, and it didn't seem unnatural because I made the card case have relevance to the plot. So moral of the story is you are able to mold the plot around the gaff or gimmick or prop if need be to give it more motivation. That way you're not simply taking the cards, putting them in the case, and then immediately pulling them back out again. Because the first thing that people are going to do, are going to go, oh, wait a minute, why'd you do that? Can I see the cards real quick? I want to see if you did something. It's unnatural, and that's exactly what you want to avoid. So those are just a couple of tips on integrating props into your routines and making them a little bit more natural. All right, last but not least, let's talk about motivating the move. For the sake of making this as easy to understand as possible, I'm going to use one example. And the example that I'm going to use revolves around a move that probably every single card magician knows about. We're going to talk about the double lift. Now there are bajillions, probably more versions of the double lift than there are stars in the universe. So to keep this explanation as short as possible, we're simply just going to talk about two things. One, we're going to talk about what is the most natural way to perform the double lift. And number two, we're going to motivate the turnover of the double lift, okay? And this can be applied to just about any double lift situation. Of course, there are some that maybe this technique won't apply to, but for the most part, this advice is pretty universal. So, first part of the thing, what is the best type of double lift for me to perform? Now, there's no really right or wrong answer to this, but what I can say is that your double lift should look exactly the same way that you turn over a single card, okay? So if my double lift looks like this, that's fine, but then I better also turn over a single card that way. If my double lift looks like this, but then I turn over a card like this, that's no good, okay? And the reason for that is because let's just say 4 times in the routine I turn over a single card, and then the 5th time I need to turn over a double lift. If the double lift looks different than those other times that I turned over the card, so for example, I'm turning over the card like this, and all of a sudden my double lift looks like this, that's no good because it looks different. They're going to catch on to the fact that it looks different, and they're going to assume that there's something funny going on. Okay? So in order to get your double lift and your single lift looking identical, or as close to identical as possible, there's 2 ways you can go about this. The first way is you try to find a double lift technique that looks as close to the way that you turn over a card naturally as possible. Okay? The second way is find a double lift that you're good at, that looks good to you. Okay? And you need to turn over a card the same way that you would turn over your double lift. So you want to make your single lift look the same as your double lift. Okay? So those are the 2 ways that you can do that. Okay? Last but not least, let's talk about motivating the turnover. Okay, so what do I mean by that? In most double lift situations, when you're turning over 2 cards, let's say I want to change the Queen of Spades into another card. Okay, I have to turn the Queen of Spades over onto the deck, pick it back up again, and then change it this way. Okay, now here's the main reason why that's unnatural. I tried this experiment with a bunch of my friends who do not perform magic. I suggest you try it on your own as well. Find a friend that doesn't know anything about magic, hand them a deck of cards, and ask them to do this for you. Say, can you turn over the top card of the deck, show it to me, and then place it down onto the table. Okay? They're going to probably do something that looks like this. They're probably going to take the card, show it to you like this, and then place it down onto the table. Okay? That's perhaps the most natural way that you can do this move. It's just the way that people would, you know, even someone that doesn't handle cards, they're going to be like, oh yeah, so this is the 4 of clubs. I'm gonna put it down on the table, right? So here is a way that you can motivate the move so that you don't get that awkward bit where you turn the card over only to pick it back up off of the deck again. Okay. Put a little pause in between. The point in which the cards turn over and the point in which you take the card off of the deck. Okay, so it looks something like this, for example. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place a 10 of spades in your hand. Can you hold out your hand flat just like that for me? Perfect. Okay, by putting that little bit of an interruption there, it makes it a little bit more motivated and it makes it have a little bit more sense. So for example, we'll try one more time. So we'll go ahead and turn over this Ace of Hearts here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and place the Ace of Hearts on the table. Sorry. Go ahead and place the Ace of Hearts down on the table, right? And of course the card changes if I didn't throw them on the floor. But the reason that it makes a little bit more sense is because basically the psychology behind it is if I wanted to place this 4 of diamonds down on the table, I would just do it. But before I did, I needed a free hand, so I freed up this right hand by leaving it on the deck so I can do something, whether it be to clean off the table, or maybe move a drink or move the card case out of the way if I'm going to put a card down on the table, or simply to ask someone to hold out their hand just like this. That way it gives me a reason why I left the card on the deck for a second before I took it off. It's going to make, believe it or not, it's going to make a big difference. People are going to want to see the card less before you reveal it. If you've ever done a double lift to go to place it in their hand, you know that sometimes they'll be like, whoa, is it still the same card? And they'll want to look at it, right? If you do this move with a little bit more motivation, the chances of them wanting to look at the card before you do the reveal is going to be a lot less. Okay? So that's my explanation on how you can motivate the move. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you learned something. If you have any tips yourself on how you can motivate certain magic effects, props, moves, things like that, things that you've experienced that actually work for you, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video with your friends so that maybe they can learn a thing or two about how to motivate their magic. Thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time, everyone, keep practicing.